and you know who you are, who were there at the beginning. The history of my US publishing, I've referred to at various times. But it was all very puzzling. This world started more or less at the same time in both countries. And I think that I subsequently heard that the head of the publishers in the US just didn't think it would work. And it does seem to me that if the boss doesn't think it's going to work, how hard are the underlings going to try to make it work? And some of you in the audience may recall when I would be invited after a while to be guest of honour at conventions in the States, and I would go there and the publisher paid no attention to the fact that I was on, I'd ring up and say, hi, I'm actually going to be in Indianapolis or wherever it's going to be. Nothing happened. And it started getting really weird, and again, I know there are people in the audience that could assert this. I would go along to Worldcons, and I would have a queue round the block, and it was made up of Americans holding English hardcovers, grade imports, and it was getting, and my editor at the time was sitting there glumly as more coming out. Occasionally there was the not very well printed on an awfully covered American paperback, but mostly it was the hardcover. And it was getting laughable. And then a number of things happened. First, I got Ralph Buchananza as my agent. And he started gingering things along. But he also worked out how much money the publishers were losing by not actually doing hardcovers. So the hardcovers started to happen. And you all said they've got horrible covers. But you always say that sort of thing anyway. and yes, shall we say, not all of them were very well thought out covers. But you have actually said that about later covers, which turned out to be very successful. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. And I personally really loved the cover of Monstrous Regiment over here, because it was a clever cover, and it kind of gave you the clue to what was happening, and I just liked it. But anyhow, things started to move a bit, and then I did the famous horrible tour in 1986. Seth reminds me. I think I actually filled one store, but it was a store in New York that held about 5 people. In fact, I think the owner had to get out and stand on the outside if there are too many people in the store. And then the lovely Jennifer became my editor. And it really was this, I mentioned it before, this sudden change in my publishers merged, and suddenly, and almost seemed overnight, all the drops of mercury ran together, because the 2000 tour, it was as if the earlier tour never happened. I'm very pleased about that, because, as I said at the beginning, there was a second chance, and the second chance worked. It annoys me sometimes that if the right people had been in the right position a decade earlier, things would have been much better advanced. But I've been told, what was it? I was told I was the 7th in some kind of bestseller list. I was number 7 in the non-American author. Okay, I get sent all kinds of stuff periodically that say, you're doing kind of okay. Given what there was before, kind of okay is pretty good. It could have been a lot better than that. But on the other hand, it has turned out pretty well, otherwise I wouldn't be here. So there we are. Anything else I want to add? I think it's a very strange world being a writer, because you spend it most of the time in your own head. And if you're me, you're constantly researching, but you don't know what you're researching for. You read all kinds of stuff because it looks interesting. And fortunately, my wife and my daughter know about this. So for Christmas, I get big packages of books with, like, a history of false teeth. The wonderful history of pins. So I do serendipitous reading. And so you read a book about the history of pins, and there is something in it that you never knew, and it's not about pins, it's about something else. There's an aside, and it turns out, for example, that at the times of James I, if you bought a pair of shoes, you got two shoes. There wasn't a right and a left, they were just shoes. They haven't changed much, but we don't do it like that. Just thought, that's kind of weird. Does it change the universe in any way? No, it might make your feet a little more comfortable. And we just kind of like it because it's such a strange thing to find out. And all those things eventually funnel around, and some of them find their way into this sort of book. And there's quite a lot of that sort of thing at Unseen Academical, which, that's it really. Unless there are more pressing questions, I think we've probably reached an end. Do you want me to say something valedictory?
Yes.
You are Americans, so you want the valedictory bit.
Canadians.
Sorry?
And Canadians.
And Canadians. Well, you know.
And British.
Well, okay, but I mean, let's face it, Canadians are kind of,
Yes, go there.
I was in Canada, and there'd been a poll out, and people worldwide had voted about, you know, like, what countries do you like, and what countries don't you like? And Canadians were upset, like publicly upset, that most people have been asked about Canadians would say, oh yeah, Canadians, yeah, they're okay, yeah, okay. And I said, you must be nuts! The world is full of countries would like people to think, oh yeah. British, they're okay. Not worth bombing. And Australia tends to have the same kind of view that, you know, it must be nice to live in a country that no one thinks is particularly bad. You know? It's nice to live in a place that people think is a bit dull, but quite okay. They're kind of decent, you know, and to start worrying about that, it's fucking amazing. And I really enjoyed my visits there. But I just couldn't get over people worrying about the image, you know. Oxford was wondering whether you're going to get blown up again. Afghanistan, the Afghans, yeah, they're okay. And Brits don't really care whether it's a happy ending or not, as long as you can get a drink afterwards.